Hi, my name is Tom Trantham. My family owns Happy Cow Creamery and Trantham's 12 Acres Dairy here in Belzer, South Carolina, southern part of Greenville County. We've had the dairy for going on 42 years now. We started Happy Cow Creamery where we bottle and sell our own milk here on the farm in 2002. Just celebrated our 17th anniversary in October of having Happy Cow open, and has been an amazing blessing and growth, giving us the opportunity to deliver fresh, healthy farm products, milk to our customers. As far as the 12 Aprils program, at that point in time, Dad was struggling. It was very, very tight. Probably not far from losing the farm when one day the cows broke out and went into a field that he had planted for a crop that was going to be, he put all of his eggs in that last basket for that crop to be able to make it and save him and get through the winter. And the cows broke out of the fence and got in there and ate it. When it wasn't ready to grow, it was only about this tall. And for the crop that it was supposed to be standard, conventional farming practices, that plant's got to get up tall and mature and get up to your chest high before you can mow it, because you'll get the yield out of it. So when the cows broke out into that field and got in it and they grazed that field, well, the next day when they checked the milk tank, they're up 300 pounds of milk, and they can't figure out why. What happened? Where did this milk come from? You don't have a 300 pound a day jump in milk production milking 65 cows. That's a tremendous amount of milk to increase, and you can't figure it out where it happened. And the only thing they could come up with is, well, those cows got in that field and ate that crop. Dad always said that he really felt he would be at the house in that early stages and couldn't figure out what to do or where to go with this. And he said he heard God tell him, don't lead them, follow them. So he didn't lead the cows to the fields, he followed the cows to the fields, and see, they go where they want to go, and they will always go to where there's the best crop. And that was a big step in saving this farm for the future. The first step of us getting to where we are now with our bottling plant, because we have so many families that come and drink our milk because of the nutritional value and the health value of it, being a low temp pasteurized, non-homogenized milk, old-fashioned cream line milk. We take nothing out of any of our milk. We put nothing in it as far as our whole milk goes. And we have lactose intolerant people that can come and drink our milk that haven't been able to drink our milk in years. Lots of families that have families that are sick with cancer. The patient will start drinking our buttermilk. And it doesn't cure cancer, but it does give that person pleasure. Their body wants it. The stuff that's in buttermilk, the microbes and everything that's in there, their body wants all that stuff in that time of sickness, going through chemo and stuff like that, and they crave it. And we've got a lot of families that have that said, my uncle's sick and got cancer, and we took him some buttermilk and he drank the whole jug and he hadn't been able to eat anything. So it's an awesome privilege and honor to be able to provide the product to the consumers in the community that we get to do. The biggest thing that scares me for those people is how are you going to feed all those people? Because if you take that many people and move them and they're in cities, you have no way other than the footprint of those cities has to expand, and you're going to have bigger cities. And the more those cities keep coming out into the rural areas and expanding and taking the land out of the rural and turning it into urban areas, you're going to keep losing more and more farmland. And the less farmland you have, the less food you're going to have. So that scares me to think. 2070, I'm not going to be around to worry about it or see it. But I hope that somehow, some way, Happy Cow Creamery is still here to help provide for those cities. It's a little bit doubtful that would happen, because we have some city areas not far from us, and it's going to expand to us. And we already know of dairies that were in that area. that when that city did expand out and neighborhoods got built on the backside of his property, the people that live in that neighborhood don't care that that farmer's providing milk for this area. They cared that it smelled and they had flies all the time, so they kept calling DHEC complaining about the smell of the lagoon and the flies at their house when they bought the house on the backside of a dairy farm next to a lagoon where all of his manure water goes, and then called to complain about it. And they got pushed out. We lost that dairy out of this state. They're now in Georgia milking about 2,500 cows. So we didn't want that here in this state anymore. So it does. Back to the base of that question is you have to wonder, how in the world are you going to feed all those people when there's no place left to grow the food? Sustainable agriculture is something that's hard to do, to be honest with you. It's a difficult thing to do because today's practices with non-sustainable practices, with your factory farming, if you want to call it that way, even with your crop farms and dairy farms and stuff like that, it's very important for the animals and for the people, because sustainable practices is what keeps our food healthy. It's what keeps our food natural. It's the non-sustainable stuff. Your corporate dairies. I'll give you one example. You have a dairy in Indiana that milks 35,000 cows, and I wish y'all could see the look on Will's face when I just made that statement. 35,000 cow dairy. Those cows don't see the light of day. Those cows don't leave those concrete barns. They are factory farmed. They walk in as a young first calf heifer, and they're pushed and pushed and pushed to milk as hard as they can for probably 2 years, maybe, and then they're out. And it's a dairy that cares about making money, and it doesn't care about the animal that it has. Those are all over the place. I mean, there's large dairies in this state that are. There's some dairies that do confinement, that do still take care of their cows, and they're still good to them. But when you've got that many cows milking 35,000 cows a day, constantly, 24/7, around the clock, and I don't know how many different parlors they have, there's nothing sustainable about that. You're not taking care of. We have cows that milk. We've had 18-year-old dairy cows here before that have been here on this dairy that long, and we have cows, over 10 years old. That make it that long, because we named it Happy Cow because we have happy cows. And we have people come ask us all the time, oh, these cows really happy, and I was like, if you want to go watch them go out to one of those grazing pastures, you'll see what I'm talking about. Because when they go to a new grazing pasture, man, they jump and cut and play around and run, and it's amazing. So that's just the dairy side of it. You look at the crop side of it, the corn that we grow in this world nowadays. You might get 360 bushels to the acre or something like that. It's huge yield qualities, but if you look at the quality of what you're producing versus what was produced 30 years ago or whatever, it might have been a whole lot less yield. But if you've got a 360 bushel 8% protein corn versus 180 bushel 12% protein corn or whatever, the nutritional value in that corn is there, and your body is going to tell you what it wants. And if it's not had the nutrition it needs, then it's going to tell you it's still hungry. So when you're eating very low quality corn products or whatever it is, I don't want to pick on corn growers, because we got to have corn for a lot of things. In fact, I'll challenge you to go to the grocery store and find a food product in the grocery store that doesn't contain corn in some way, shape, or form. It's hard to do. But sustainable agriculture is, it's so important to not just the animals, but the environment. We use all of our own resources here. All of our manure is what we use for fertilizer. We don't use chemical fertilizers. We don't use herbicides. We don't use pesticides. We use mowing practices to control our weeds. You know, if you have a weed that grows from a seed, well, if the weed that you have growing never seeds out, you're not gonna have that weed next year. So we bush hog our fields, the cows graze the fields, and then we bush hog and controls our weeds through seed control, not through chemicals.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.